Hello and welcome to Digital Declutter, our online workshop. Today is Thursday, the 1st of August, 10 a.m. here in Melbourne, and I think it's 2 degrees. It's a bit chilly. It seems to be getting colder as the day goes on. Hope it's a little warmer than that where you are. Looking forward to hearing where you are joining us from. Pop that in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from and what you're looking forward to learning. I was just saying before we press record that I've got a lot of spiel to get through at the start in relation to our digital decluttering, but we certainly will have opportunities to share as we go through each of the steps. But the first step in particular, there's lots to share about that. So let us know where you're joining us from and what you're looking to learn. There's nothing else. I just said all that on that screen. I think the only point I should say is, do you need to declutter and organize your digital files? Do you really need to? And I'll challenge you in relation to deleting things and decluttering digital files shortly, but just start thinking about it. Is it something that you need to spend your time on? It may be, it may not be. Let's have a little bit of a think about that. And there's an offer at the end of the session to continue our decluttering journey with upcoming workshops. And if you really need some one-on-one help, I can do that with you through one-on-one coaching. So I'll share that with you at the end of the session as well. So here we are, space and time. The business is all about making conscious choices with how we use our space and our time. So we want to create systems to create a simpler life. And that certainly includes our digital lives as well. You know, if we've got less, if we can find what we want, it leads to less frustration and being a bit more productive and efficient, as well as just making time to do those important things that you want to spend your time on. What's your intention today? Oh, I better have a look at the chat. There's a few people who have put their intentions in there, I think. Changes of any sort are easier if you have a clear intention. So have a bit of a think about that. What are you looking to learn today? Let's see what the chat says. Hi, Sheila. She's joining us from Oakland in California. Awesome. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks, MJ, joining from Bayswater, and would like to know how digital decluttering works. Awesome. You're in the right place. Lynn is in the US, needs help with dad's files, okay? Tons of photos and his old hard drives on external drives. All right, Lynn, let's have a think about that. Thank you, Mary Lou, my awesome assistant, is joining us. Stola is in Bayswater, so she's not far from me as well. Dee is in Michigan. Thanks for coming, Dee. Good on you. Looking forward to learning steps to finally get my digital space organized so I can be more productive and less stressed. I love that idea. Good thoughts. And I'm a tech executive and a student, so things are very digital for me and very overwhelming at times. That's great to think about that in relation to all the hats that you wear and all of that digital stuff we've got coming at us all the time. Hi, Marina is in Thornbury. Thank you. Welcome. Bridget says she's in Australia. Just 1 second. I just need to let somebody in the coming in the digital waiting room. Bridget says, also need to reduce my cloud storage. It's so close to maximum allowed before I need to pay more. I will talk about that, Bridget. I was just doing a bit of a practice about paying more for storage. Let's have a chat about that. So good on you. Thank you all for using the chat to share your intentions with us today. So in this session, we are going to look at digital files, including photos, email, and computer files. So we're going to have a general overview and how to tackle the sort of sorting and decluttering and organizing, but we're not going to go into too much of the specifics on the apps. So in relation to dad's files that somebody was asking about before, we'll talk about how to go about the process in general, but you certainly may need to get an expert to help you, download those documents and to be able to go through if you need some specific help. So let's look today at sorting out what your intention is and why you need to declutter and organize. And then we can look out for experts that can help us do that if we need some more specific help. So here I am, Julie Cliff, declutter coach and professional organizer. Before starting the business in 2015, I was an executive assistant and administrator for 20 years. So I love helping people get and stay organized. In just around that time, 2015, found a group of professional organizers here in Melbourne and have been meeting with them monthly ever since. So I found out that, yes, this is a thing. People do go into people's homes and help them declutter and organize. And as I say, have been doing that myself for almost 10 years. I now have a team of organisers in Melbourne and Geelong. I'm married, have one husband and 2 teenagers. One's at school and one's in bed. He needs to head off to work soon. So that's a little bit about me and how I became a professional organizer and declutter coach. So I call myself a declutter coach when I'm in these sorts of teaching sessions. So I'm coaching you the skills so you can go on and do the organizing yourself. Okay, so before we get underway and start deleting willy-nilly, let's look at being realistic with our digital files. So why do you feel like you actually need to organize your digital files? Can they just sit in archive, or could they just be deleted without too much effort? Make the task manageable to get it done. So we're going to find out what's the simplest and easiest way to get this project done. How can we organize, sort and declutter our photos, our emails, and our digital computer files? So that's what we're going to be having a look at today, because really, you could spend the rest of your life organizing your photos. You could spend the rest of your life organizing your emails. We have so many sometimes. And the same with your computer files as well. So what's going to be the easiest and most manageable way for you to get this job done to the level that you want to get it done, but for it to get done, rather than be too much of a perfectionist about it and say, oh, I want everything color-coded and I want this and that. Let's see how we can get the job done. So what's the problem that you are experiencing with your digital clutter? Is it the fact that you can't find anything, or you're stressed or overwhelmed? A few people did share what their challenges are. So again, thank you for sharing your challenges so we know what we can address today. We're also going to have a look at setting up a new system for our documents and emails so that we can find them easier. So we're going to have a look at that shortly. But a question for you as well, when we're looking at organizing our digital files, if it's too hard to be able to search and find something that you've already got, can you just easily and quickly recreate it using ChatGPT? So ChatGPT, and there's many more of them out there, are they're AI, so the artificial intelligence that can help you very quickly put something together. So I use it all the time to create things for my business. It might be an email to someone, it might be a procedure manual, it might be a policy. So how are we going to deal with chemicals when we're working in somebody's home, something like that? I'll ask ChatGPT to write me this using this sort of language in this way, and it does get to know you quite quickly as well, so it can write like you, and it will do that in 3 seconds. So rather than get bogged down with trying to find an old document that you used to have and thought it was a good resource, maybe we can just recreate it. So just something, again, I'm getting you to think about all these things as to why we want to declutter and get ourselves organized. and how all these resources out there we can use, you know, just Googling a document as well. And also, can you just archive something rather than deleting it? Do you really need to delete it? I'll talk more about that. And I mentioned about the idea of more storage. We'll share some more about that in our decluttering step. So as I say here, I really wanted to talk to you about being realistic, because we only have 168 hours in a week. It's my favorite thing to say. Because we've got better things to do than sit around all day playing with our files. So let's have a look as well in relation to being realistic with our files about starting to set up good systems by using keywords. So you can easily be able to find things and search for things by using keywords, photos, emails and computer files without having to worry about folders. I do put my photos in folders because I do, when I download them, I go through and I label them as I download them onto our backup system that we've got here. But I only have 2 or 3 folders that I move my emails into, because I always use the keywords. So a good naming system means that you don't need the folders a lot of times. So you can just look for those keywords. As I said, we will address tackling the backlog later, but if we can start to sort of process what's coming in now as well, that's a great way to be able to start becoming more organized with our digital files. And as we say as well, you know, keeping an eye on why you are doing this, because once you get in the weeds sometimes, whether it's physical decluttering or mental decluttering or any of this digital sort of things, it can get a bit tough if you're in the weeds and you're sort of forgetting why you're doing this. So a few things there to think about. As I said, just challenging your thinking about why we want to get organized with your files. Maybe someone just says, oh, you know, we should have a 0 inbox. Well, you know, maybe that's not possible or not even relevant to you. So just thinking about why you want to get yourself organized here. So if you've been to some of my workshops before, you would know these 6 steps of the space and time organizing system. And we are going to look through them today, starting with how do we stop more stuff, more digital files, more photos, more emails. Second step is your commitment to being organized. Third step is sort the stuff. Fourth step, things you no longer need. The 5th step, easy storage, which is very relevant for our digital files, and then maintenance. So let's look at stop the stuff. Again, I will share some ideas here on stopping the stuff, and then I would like to hear your thoughts on anything that I've said so far and ideas on how we can stop more digital clutter. So have a think about that while I'm presenting this step. Feel free to unmute yourself in a second when I've gone through this step, or again, use the chat as we have been doing before. And as this is being recorded, we will put it on YouTube for other people that couldn't make it today, and be able to share through YouTube. So if anyone's watching on YouTube, they can also use the comments on YouTube to be able to ask questions, and that'll come through to us and we can answer those questions that you have. Okay, step 1, stop the stuff. So what's the big deal about having too much digital clutter? Well, many of my clients tell me that it's overwhelming, there's more to organize, there's more to manage, it can be overstimulating, and just, you look at 30,000 unread emails and go, oh boy. And of course, it makes it difficult to be able to find anything. So these are a few of the reasons why people like to get themselves organized with their digital files. a good question to ask yourself when we're looking at how can we stop more from coming in is, why do we have so much digital clutter? Where does it come from? And it's so important to be able to identify that and stop more from coming in, because it's really hard to make any progress when there's more stuff coming in. So, you know, you've got 30,000 emails and you're deleting, and at the end of the day, it feels like you've still got 30,000 emails. So let's see if we can figure out what the source is and stop the stuff from even making it into your inbox. And of course, the whole idea with space and time is making deliberate choices about what we keep and what we let go. And so again, this is just so important with our digital stuff. Be mindful of what you bring into your life and what you can let go. You know, what's relevant for you right now to be living your best life. So how can we stop more digital clutter? And please start sharing your ideas if you've got some ideas on stopping more digital clutter. First thing I can say, and I did do a quick live on Facebook this morning, and I said unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. It's one of the biggest things I can say for people is to just unsubscribe to emails in particular that I'm talking about. Unsubscribe to newsletters, any specials that people are sending you, catalogs, even some of those weekly or newsletters that you love the person. It might be, you know, some of your favorite authors or those sorts of things, but you just don't make time to read it. So rather than it just sitting there, sort of taunting you, just delete it and unsubscribe. Probably the other way around makes sense. Unsubscribe and then delete, so that you've got less coming in. I've only got about these 4 subscriptions that regularly come in, and I think they're only, Tim Ferriss is an author. He wrote the 4-Hour Work Week and a number of others. His is weekly. Holly's is a fortnightly email, I think. Paul Miner's not that often. Sometimes I don't read it, but I still like to see it and see what he's talking about, productivity and that sort of thing. And Sophie is an interior designer here in Melbourne, and it always looks pretty when it comes through. I think it's only monthly. So these are the only regular emails that are coming in. I do not want Kmart messaging me. I do not want everybody else selling stuff to me. So you might order something, and then of course you're on their email list, but you can easily just get the thing that you want and then go in and unsubscribe. And then of course, once you unsubscribe, you go in and delete the backlog. So you can go in and search for Kmart and delete all of those ones they've already sent to you. But of course, keep your eye out for any receipts or those sorts of things that you might want to keep. But please unsubscribe. As I say, we don't need these sales emails from coming in all the time. We can go on the website ourselves when we want to buy something. But I don't want other people's stuff in my inbox when it's supposed to be a tool to help me with organizing my life. For email management as well, and don't forget, be thinking yourself, how can you stop more emails, more digital files, and more photos? Keep coming up with those ideas. Educate others as to how they can email you and when they can email you. So if it's a work situation, you might say, come and see me if you've got any questions, or a quick phone call. But I'm only going to be checking my emails at these times, and I'm just make the boundaries nice and clear. So educate other people around you as to how they can use your email. And as I mentioned, Tim Ferriss before, he was talking, and this is a long time ago. He wrote this book more than 10 years ago, empowering the people around him, the people that worked for him, to be able to make some decisions, whether it was up to a certain dollar amount, you know, they could just go ahead and do those things. how can we educate the people around us so they're not just bombarding us? Maybe they could even have a think and figure it out for themselves rather than emailing you and asking you. So, and also there, that third dot point says you can have an automated reply that outlines some of these email management ideas. So it's your inbox. You are the one that has got control over it. So think about that. Have a think about digital emails and who might you say, please don't email me anymore. Look forward to hearing about that. Also, some ideas of stopping the stuff, stopping more digital clutter is to, in relation to photos, stop taking so many photos. And what I mean by that is turn off the bursts that you're taking on your phone or on your digital camera. There will be a setting to turn off the setting that takes numerous photos at once. Now, if you are a professional photographer, of course, this is great to be taking multiple photos so that you get that right photo. But if you are just taking happy snaps around the house, you don't need to take 10 photos every time you push the button. So have a bit of think about that. How can you reduce taking photos? And also curate the photos as you take them. So take a photo, have a look, what's it look like? Yes, I'm going to keep it. Or so you could do that right on the spot. Or if you want as well, you could have a reminder at the end of the day to have a look at your photos. And I do have that on my list of things to do at the end of the day, is to curate photos, because I do take some with permission from clients before and after photos. So I end up with quite a few. So at the end of the day, and I've got another reminder at in the evening as well that goes off to have a look at the photos. And this would be very important if you were doing a big trip around Europe as well, or a big, family holiday, to be curating the photos as you're taking them, or each evening, and enjoying and reminiscing on the day, rather than come home and you've got 15,000 photos that you need to trawl through and you're probably crying because you wish you were still on the holiday. So here are a few ways that I've suggested here. Does anyone else do that sort of thing with their photos as they're taking them? Have a bit of a think and share some of your ideas as well. As I said, I promise I will stop talking in a second and get others to share. Before I do that, stop more stuff. Stop the digital clutter on your computer files. Now, do you need to be the person that is looking after all the digital files? So is there a central location that the information can be found? Like if it's a work document, is there somebody else that has the document so you don't need a copy of it yourself? Or if it's a family thing, can somebody else have a copy of it? Is there a central location, like a database at your work or something to do with personal, that you don't actually need the copy of it? Have a bit of a think about that. And also, do you actually need to download the file? Could you view it online and not need a copy on your computer, whatever it might be? So here we are thinking about ways to reduce more digital clutter, not even getting it on the computer in the first place. And of course, you can Google things or get ChatGPT to just make it up for you right there on the spot, so that we've got less digital documents on our computer. What's another way you can stop more digital clutter on your computer? I always giggle when I look at this last point. Reduce the number of interests you pursue at one time. Think about your hobbies that you're doing, and perhaps you might just limit yourself to a couple of hobbies each semester or each year. I've got a few clients that are very crafty and are very busy and got lots going on, which is awesome. And if that's how you want to enjoy yourself, go ahead. But of course, with each hobby comes emails, comes digital files, comes more stuff. So perhaps you don't need to be doing calligraphy, gardening, patchwork, and Spanish, and martial arts at the same time. Maybe you might just do 1 or 2 hobbies at a time. That would help you reduce the amount of digital clutter that's coming in. There'd be less emails coming in about those things. Again, if you want to spend your time on these leisure activities, I'm very envious and can't wait to get to that position myself, to be able to spend more time on those sorts of things. But I think I would be trying to limit the number of things that I'm doing at one time. And I know many of my clients will kick me for saying just have limited amount of things you're doing at one time. But again, 168 hours a week. How do you want to spend your time? All right, let me stop my share. And I'm just going to stop for a couple of seconds and ask if anyone's got any ideas about stopping more stuff. Let me have a look at MJ. Thank you. She says unsubscribe. Oops, unsubscribe and block emails. Yeah. And print them out and delete the emails. I like the idea of blocking them. It's a great idea too. So, because sometimes you can't find that little unsubscribe button. They are all supposed to have them, but I think they're a bit cheeky and don't have them. But I like the idea of printing them out too. If you had some instructions that you really wanted or something that was important, and delete the emails. I like that idea. What are some other ways we could have less digital clutter? And what are you going to unsubscribe to first? Anyone got any suggestions? Unsubscribe from sales emails. D, I love it. Some of these places email you 2, 3, and 4 times a day. Like, that's just crazy. That's too much, too much, too much, too much. All right. And D says, again, I get too many from places I do not buy from any longer. That's true. So if they're not relevant to you anymore, just get rid of them. It might be somewhere you used to buy your clothing from or buy your groceries from. If it's not relevant anymore, yeah, just tell them to go away, unsubscribe. All right, I'm going to keep moving. Keep your ideas going in the chat. We've been talking about ways to stop more digital stuff from coming in. So keep them coming through, but I will keep going because we've got lots to talk about still. We'll go on to the next step. Here we are, step 2, your commitment to being organized. And I'm so very sorry to say there is no magic wand. I hope you weren't coming here today to find a magic bullet. And I wish I had one and I wish I could sell it, but there isn't one. We just need to take our time, be focused, be persistent for us to become organized people. And we want to just tackle one thing at a time. You might decide, okay, this week I'm going to spend some time on my photos, or this time I'm going to spend some time on my emails or on my computer files. But as I said, sorry, there is no magic wand to just go bing and it all be perfect. It just takes a little bit of time. It's probably taken some time to mount up and get to where you in the position that you're in. So it'll take a little bit of time to unravel it as well. So, as I just said, files will accumulate over time and they will take time to address. That big star on the right there says, keep your eye on your why, is what it should say. Keep your why in mind. Keep your eye and your mind on what you're trying to do here. As I said, this step number 2, your commitment to being organized, is all about making some time to get started and make it a priority. So you might spend 10 minutes on decluttering emails every day, or it might be 2 hours each Wednesday, or spend the next week working on it. Doesn't sound like very much fun to you, but it might be something you need to do. But as I mentioned before, start dealing with what's coming in each day. And we will start to tackle the backlog shortly when we get to the decluttering step. But just start to make some decisions as they're coming in. Have a look at the email, have a look at the file, have a look at the photo. Is this something I want to keep? Can I find it somewhere else? Do I need to keep it? Could somebody else have it? And just start to action things as they're coming in so that they don't mount up so much. So some ways to get started on these things is, what are you trying to achieve by getting control of your email? That's about the idea of keeping your eye on your why. Doesn't matter if you have all of these unread emails. What would happen if you just deleted them all? Who would know? What would get missed, and would it matter? One of my good friends of many years, Jackie, deleted all her emails deliberately recently. As far as I know, it went very well. So I think you would survive. If there was something important in there, people would probably email you again. If there was important documents on there, you probably could get them from somewhere else. So I'd really love to challenge about the idea of just finding the simplest and easiest way to process them, as I mentioned right at the start, to get this job done, rather than having to wade through 30,000 emails. What's the simplest way to get this job done? So maybe some other ideas to get started would be move anything that's more than 2 months old, into an archive folder. So you'd still have them, but at least they would be out of your inbox. So if we're talking about your emails or even your digital files, if they're a few years old, particularly digital files, they're probably out of date. If they're documents, photos, this 2 months old type thing probably doesn't work so much. But for emails and computer files, we could probably put the older stuff in a folder that just says archive, or if your app that you're using has an archive function, you just need to check what that actually meant to archive it. But this is just a couple of ways to get you started on being committed to being organized and starting your decluttering and organizing journey. But also have a think about changing the way you think about your emails and the job at hand. Is it so important? Can you just let them sit there? If you think, no, they definitely can't sit there, let me know. Pop it in the chat and let me know why you want to get rid of them. And I know space is an issue. We'll talk about that in a second. Somebody did raise that. But which of these questions has helped you understand why you want to get organized with your emails and get started on the job at hand? Because I really would probably rather you spend your time on stopping more things from coming in and setting up a new system, having less coming in, using good file names and being able to search to be able to find things, rather than get in the weeds and get stuck in and lost in 30,000 emails that probably don't even mean anything. But prove me wrong. What's this one? Dee says, I was actually going to ask what you thought of the idea of clearing or email bankruptcy. A former co-worker declared that I was amazed. Hang on, sorry, I can't read it because something's in the road. I was amazed, but she said she needed to do it. Needed to do it. He then emailed important contacts saying he declared email bankruptcy and there was anything important that may have missed to email him again. I love that so much. Email bankruptcy. So that is a great way of doing it. If you just wanted to either delete, like my friend Jackie did, or just move all your emails into a different folder so you still had them. And then you can let people know that you've done that. So if there's anything urgent, they can email you again. Dee, thanks for sharing that story. I love the idea of email bankruptcy. Has anybody else done it? What would you be worried Dee says, I have not had the guts to do this myself, but I'm tempted. I reckon you can sort of cop out a little bit, Dee, and just, as I'm suggesting, put it in a different folder out the road. And that might be something that you could do as well. Thanks for sharing. That's a great story. Email bankruptcy. Yes, go do it. But also, we were talking before about email management, about educating others on how you use your email. But I want you to be very diligent about how you use your email as well. So I would highly recommend having a separate app or to-do list, written on a piece of paper. I normally have one written on my notebook here. Sometimes I don't even have a to-do list. I just do what comes to mind. Very lucky I can run my life like that. But don't let your inbox be your to-do list, because we don't want other people and their agenda getting in the road of your productivity and you getting your important things done. So have a separate list for your to-do items, and don't let other people decide what your agenda is. So that's all about your commitment to being organized. So we're really having a think about why we want to get organized, literally putting time in the diary to do your digital decluttering if you've decided you still need to go about that, and really making that a focus. Let me have a look at the chat. Dee says, I was actually going to ask, whoops, I read that one already, sorry. Dee says she agrees, she likes the idea of moving the files into another folder rather than just deleting them. At least they would be there, but they're out the road. And Dee also says unsubscribing from sales emails. I mean, how many do we get? It's just crazy. Okay, Lynn says historical family documents I would lose and worry about. I think that's a really good one. In the next step, in a second, Lynn, we'll talk about sorting the documents. So let's think about the family when that is in mind when we're doing this decluttering. Great one to think about. Thanks for raising that. All right, so let's keep moving. Sort the stuff. SYS. Yes. Third step, sort the stuff, is all about making this task more manageable. So rather than tackle 30,000 emails at once or a billion photos, let's break it down into some smaller sections by sorting in a particular way. So let's use the example we just had then of family documents that you don't want to delete family stuff. Well, that's a great one. Let's start by looking up maybe by emails by the people that have sent you emails. And we could grab all those emails from your family members and we could just drag them into a folder and keep them and not delete them. That would be a great way to help you with the sorting. So we could sort all of them down to a smaller amount by certain people, or maybe by a topic, or by the person that created the file, or by a particular date. So you might be looking for tax documents, for documents that are older than 10 years old. I probably wouldn't actually delete my tax documents, but by law, we only have to hold them, receipts and those sorts of things for a certain amount of time, 5 to 7 years here in Australia. But you could search for emails or documents by date to be able to find these things. Again, we're trying to sort the stuff, trying to sort your files so that the task becomes more manageable. So try this sorting step as a way to get started. So we're not actually deleting anything in this step. It's all about sorting. When we're talking about our stuff, our physical stuff, when I do this presentation, it's more like, sorting out your junk drawer and putting the scissors together and all those sorts of things. But sorting your digital files. Might be putting it together in dates. It might be putting a few folders together by the person that sent it to you, if you do like to keep folders, or it might be sorting by topic. So this might just be helping you break the task down into something that's more manageable. Just let me look at the chat before we go on. Yeah, MJ says, I find sorting by sender is easiest. That's a great way to do it. So you could look up a particular person, you could search for a person, or just go to the left-hand side, it normally is by sender, and just click it, however you explain that properly. But, you know, sort your files on your screen, your emails, by the person that sent you. And then that's a great way to be able to decide what to keep and what to let go from there. Good one. All right, Bridget says, do you also have any suggestions for creating to-do folders online? I don't always have time to address important emails immediately and then lose them over time. That's a good one. I would still probably keep them, as you're suggesting, in a to-do folder, but you'd still need it written down somewhere else that you need to do it. I usually schedule time in the calendar. I'm just looking to see, I know I put something after this. I need to make a phone call. This is a little bit different, but trying to show you how we can allocate time in our calendar to do specific things. There was also, yeah, I spoke to a new client earlier in the week and I haven't had a chance to action the things that I said I was going to. So 4 o'clock this afternoon, there's just in my Google Calendar, it says tweak notes and send. So, and it's got the client name there. So that'll pop up. It's got a notification on it. And so I will spend time on that. So I really find you need to allocate time in your diary to do these things. And it might even be every day, half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever you need, first thing in the morning, in the afternoon, whenever suits you, to be able to action some of this stuff, to have action your to-dos from your folder. So you could still keep those emails in a folder, a to-do folder, but you have to have it written somewhere else, either on your to-do list or literally allocate the time in your diary, your paper diary, or on your calendar. I think that works well. And Mary Lou also says she likes to sort things by sender, and Dee said that as well. So Bridget, I hope that's helpful about creating to-do folders, and then making time to address those important things. Because yeah, I know they can get lost over time. All right, let's look at step 4, things you no longer need. So this is supposed to be the decluttering step. So we've been talking about a lot of different ways to reframe getting organized with our digital folders and files. Do you actually need to? How can you, rethink about it? So this is where we're going to actually start to let some things go. We want to decide what to keep and what to let go. But a good one is to let go if you have multiple. And we've spoken about that already quite a lot today. Yeah, deleting duplicate photos that you might have taken in those bursts, or delete lots of, if you've got multiple copies of one particular document, like if you've accidentally downloaded a file on your computer, like off of the email, and now it's in your downloads folder and you've got multiple versions of it, you could delete the older ones. So looking at multiples is a good one for being able to delete stuff. So your photos, emails, and your computer files. Again, it might be older versions of documents you could delete easily without having too much trouble, because you've got the latest version. If you've been to some of my workshops before, when I talk about let go of multiples, I tell a story how in the sorting step of my utensils drawer, I discovered I had 7 vegetable peelers. So if I ever had not enough room for vegetable peelers or utensils in general, that could be a good thing for me to let go, because I've got more than enough. So the same with anything that you have multiple of, that's a good way to be able to start to reduce your digital files by letting go of the multiples or the duplicates. We've talked about deleting email in bulk. So you might want to go through some of your things and putting them aside, like the family history, like receipts, and moving them aside before you did a bulk delete. I might look for Woolworths or Kmart or Target and just delete all of them. But of course, also just check on the app that you're using. What does delete mean? Does it mean it's gone forever, or does it sit in a folder for 30 days? Just have your mind around it as well. If you feel like you still need something after you've deleted it, can you retrieve it? So just, just be a little bit careful, of course, on what we are deleting. And also create boundaries to help you decide what to keep and what to let go. Maybe you don't have to delete stuff. As somebody asked right at the start about not having enough space. Well, I pay 24 Australian dollars, which is not very much money. I don't think so anyway. That's my personal opinion. For 100 gig of storage. So that's enough for all the photos I'm keeping at the moment for the business, all my emails and all our files. And I think we've only used about 60% of that or something. So I'd be happy to keep using that and keep paying that amount of money if it means I don't have to spend my precious time going in and deleting stuff. That being said, I do practice what I preach, and I do delete stuff every day. As I said, I unsubscribe for things every day. I do delete stuff every day, emails that I don't want to receive, but a lot of things I just keep, folders, files, photos. I said I delete them as I go as well. So I am really trying to deal with the new stuff that's coming in, so it's not mounting up. So is it worth for you to be paying just a little bit of money so you don't have to go through the hard thing of deleting? But it won't work if you've still got thousands and thousands of emails coming in. You will clock up that 100 gig quite easily. You need to be pretty diligent on deleting things and unsubscribing. Also creating boundaries to help you, with things you no longer need. How long are you going to keep your files for? Photos is different. We want to keep photos for a long time, but how many will you keep? How long will you keep the files for? Set up some boundaries for yourself. You go, oh, that's older than 5 years old. I don't need that anymore. That'll be an old document. Just see if you can create some boundaries to make letting go of things easier. Let me have a look at the chat. Oh, yep, somebody said something, but it was just thanks. Yes, that was thanks to Bridget was talking about the to-do folders, yeah, and making time to action the stuff. All right, let's have a look at easy storage for our stuff. So the whole idea of easy storage is that you've hopefully gone through and stopped more things from coming in. We've sorted it, we've decluttered it, and now we've got a smaller amount of stuff to store. That's the whole idea of these steps. And so how are you going to store your stuff? We want to make it deliberately easy, and it is called easy, so it will fit into the word system, but deliberately called easy so it's easy to find things, easy to file, and maybe you might even set things up so things are automatically filing themselves into folders and that sort of thing. So it's all about creating permanent homes for your digital files, whether it's emails, your folder, emails or computer files. So what storage and how can you make it nice and easy? And I've been asking you all along to sort of challenge your ideas. So how specific does your filing need to be? I think that your search bar in any application, whether it's your email, your photos, or your computer files, use the little search bar up the top, particularly for emails, and search by sender, by topic. I always use that, but I do have a client that I work with regularly. She always goes in directly into the folders and she looks for the item she's looking for. That's not how I search, but we're all different, obviously, and if that works for you, but just trying to make it nice and easy. Start using some good descriptions in your file name. So when you go to create new files, it might be, say, this document that I'm showing you here today about digital decluttering. We've got the date of it, we've got the name of it, and it's probably that's probably all that is, date and the name. So when I want to do this again in a few months' time, Mary Lou will be able to easily find this latest one and be able to use this as the template going forward. So start to set up these new ways of doing things, actioning them straight away, dealing with them as they're coming in, so that we can use that search bar to be able to find things easily when we're storing our files as well. And yeah, so I think that is handy thing to be able to do when we're setting up storage, is to make sure we've got those good search terms and keywords in the names of our documents. We'll have them in the names of our photos as well, and also in our emails. When we're sending someone an email, be mindful of what would you look for, or what would you search for if you needed that again in the future. So just being starting to name our things really well so we can find them again. So how are you going to store your digital files? Do you store them on your computer? Do you store them in the cloud? Do you have an external hard drive? Don't forget to set up backup processes, particularly if they're your photos, making sure they're not just on your phone or on the computer. Again, this is where you would need to ask an IT expert for you. What's the most secure for you? What's the best storage for you? And how can you set up this system so it's going to work best for you? I don't have a lot of documents on my laptop, I wouldn't think. I've got a few bits and pieces that live on here. Like I know I just added the Space and Time logo to this presentation this morning. So that's on the computer, but most things I just use Google Drive for. All that stuff is on Google, and so that just makes it nice and easy for us. But I know it's not for everybody, but see what is going to be easy for you, easy way for you to be able to find things and back them up. But as I said, ask an expert for assistance there. Set up folders that we've been talking about before, whether it's a to-do folder or just a filing folder, or it might be, you might store your photos in a particular way by name of the child, or lots of different ways we can set up this storage. But one thing to think about is to label your digital files and file them as you would search for them. So if you have some information about digital decluttering, making sure that digital decluttering is in the name or even in a tag on the document so that you can easily find it. And as I said, start to save your files or your emails and curate your photos every day. So it's just making it nice and easy. So you've got less that you're actually storing, and it's going to make it easier for you to be able to manage your folder. Your file, excuse me a sec, I was just checking the time. Got 5 minutes? We are doing good. Where do you store your digital stuff? Is it on the cloud? Is it on your phone? How many photos have you got on your phone? Be very interested. And do you think you need to talk to an expert to help you with sort of consolidating and bringing them all to one place? Might be a good idea, and getting some of those backups set up. The last step is maintenance. So this is the stuff that we want to do each and every day to help you manage your files. As I said, as I action my emails, I'm very lucky I have Mary Lou to help me manage a lot of my emails, but as I action them myself, I will just put them in the space and time folder. They're done, they're out of the inbox, and I just have a few every day in my inbox. I also said that I check my photos every day that are on my phone, then download them every couple of weeks. Computer files I don't look at so often, but really trying to get into the habit of doing what organized people do, which is doing this maintenance every day. And also choose the time of day that's going to work well for you. You know, don't ask me to do anything after about 8 o'clock at night. My brain starts to shut down because I'm getting ready for bed, because I get up nice and early. But, you know, morning is the time for me and my energy levels. When would be a good time for you to spend some time on this? Because you might think a lot of these things I've been talking about today are rubbish, and I am definitely going to go through each of my 30,000 emails. Go for it, knock yourself out, but you'll need to choose some good times of the day when you've got some good energy to help you get through that. And also be accountable. Share your decluttering and maintenance journey with a friend and update them frequently on your progress. So get them to help you out, and get them to check in, update them regularly on how you're going with this digital decluttering. And as I said before, put the time literally into the calendar as to when you're going to get started on this. And have a good go at deleting things, automating things, and delegating. As I said, I'm very lucky I've got Mary Lou to be able to delegate things to. But there might be other people in your family or at work that you can delegate some things to, and just making time for doing this maintenance on a regular basis. And I want to leave just a couple of minutes to be able to talk about some things that we've talked about today. But the last thing I will say is turn off notifications. We don't need our phone to be going bing, bing, bing all day and all night. I do have them that pop up from my team and those sorts of things, but I don't know when emails come in. I don't need to know that on my phone. I'll go to my email when I have time. I don't have Facebook notifications that pop up. I just have text, and we use Google Chat for communication. And phone calls, of course. But turn off those notifications so that you can focus on the important projects for you. So today we have done an audit and a check-in on how we think about managing our files. We wanted to make conscious choices about what to keep and what to let go. We sorted the items, we deleted unnecessary items, we set up storage, and we've had the maintenance to be organized each and every day, and organized just how you want to do it, and the level that you want to do it as well. I mentioned right at the start that I do offer one-on-one sessions online. If you're interested to keep going with your decluttering journey, let's do this once a week for an hour or half an hour or something on Zoom, and I can help you through your digital files. Oh, we've got some events coming up soon, so keep an eye out for them. We'll be sharing them very soon. And as a thanks for coming along today, reach out to me for a 15-minute strategy call Let's make a plan for your decluttering journey. Julie@spaceandtime.com.au. Let me have a look at my notes before we wrap up. MJ says, being a carer, folders are important to enable me to find different contacts, doctor's reports, etc. Excellent, MJ. I'm glad that works for you to have those folders and helps keep the right things together that you need. Excellent. Dee says, both, but mainly in the cloud. I have auto backup on the cloud for work. Awesome. Documents and pictures, and personal files and photos are all over the place. My goal is to develop a declutter plan and system for both work and personal. Good on you, Dee. I hope some of the tips today have been helpful to get you do that. And Mary Lou, thank you for putting both those links. If you're interested in the 6-week Get and Stay Focused program, have a look at the link there, and also make a time in my diary for the 15-minute clarity call, or send us an email. You are welcome, Lynn. We're finishing 11:01, but I don't have anywhere to run away to just at this second. So did I miss something? Was there something that I didn't cover that you wish I did? You can let me know now in the chat, or send me an email, julie@spaceandtime.com.au. Send us a note and ask us if there was something that we missed. We will send out those links this afternoon in an email, and also the recording, so you can go back over. That's a good turnout for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, that's very good turnout. Thanks all for coming. I know that was a very quick and brief overview, but I think it was just a good way to get started. MJ, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we finish?
Thank you very much. Very worthwhile attending your workshop.
You are welcome. Thank you. Always great to have you. Dee, you are welcome. She says, thank you. This is very helpful. We will have another session in a couple of weeks. Mary Lou, what did we decide we're doing? Just general declutter.
The Declutter Your Life workshop.
Excellent.
So
excellent. We'll get those details out very soon. So keep an eye out on Facebook. And
Can I just say,
yes, Helen. Yep.
Unfortunately, I missed most of this. I had other things on.
Yep.
So did you say you were going to be sending a link with
Yes.
this particular session to
Yeah.
us?
Did you email through Eventbrite, Helen?
Yeah, initially, I think.
Yes. Yep. Well, if you registered through Eventbrite, we will have your details, and we will send out the recording. If you just followed a link that we sent you somewhere on an email, just drop us an email at julie@spaceandtime.com.au, and we'll make sure that we send you a copy.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Great to see you all, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Thanks, MJ. Bye, everyone. See you.
Bye.
Okay, I just want to save the chat.
thanks, Julie.
Thank you. Why can't I see save the chat? Where have you gone, save the chat?
Or maybe it's stop the
save chat.
recording.
Here it is. Got it.
Yeah, thanks.
Have you got any questions, or just all in the spreadsheet?
Yeah, I will go to the spreadsheet and make a remarks in there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now. See you.